When I was looking for a truck camper for my Toyota Tacoma, I had three big questions about truck campers in general. How much do they weigh? How much do they cost? And how much do they affect gas mileage on those trucks? And today I'm going to answer the first of those questions for my DIY truck build. How much does it weigh? When I decided to make a DIY truck camper for my truck, one of the biggest engineering goals was trying to keep this really lightweight. There are a lot of different truck camper topper styles on the market for mid-sized trucks like the Toyota Tacoma, and the lightest weight of them are just under 300 pounds, but the majority of them are between 350 to 450 pounds, and some are even heavier. But the Toyota Tacoma doesn't have a very high payload, only around 1,100 pounds per the manufacturer, and that's before you take out how much I weigh, the gas weighs, passengers weigh, gear weigh, all of that adds up. And so my goal for the truck camper was to have it be less than 400 pounds. I figured if there were several truck camper toppers on the market in that weight range, it should hopefully be doable as a DIY build. So we spent several months building the truck camper. And as we were kind of running down to the finish line before I was going to leave for Alaska, I had the truck camper on the truck, and I did go and I weighed it all together to make sure I was safe to drive it. Now, I had never weighed a vehicle before, so I had to do a little bit of research. I did some Googling, and I found out that there was a CAT scale near my house at one of the local gas stations, a Quick Trip. Mostly it's used by semi-truck drivers, but I was okay to go ahead and use that. There's a fee for using it, but I stopped in at the gas station and I talked to the clerk, and he got me set up for how much it cost and how to drive onto it. So I brought my truck with the truck camper on it. I had several supplies in there, like my mattress, a cooler. I had the bench that I had custom made. I had a passenger. I had Glia and myself. And we drove on to that scale, and I kind of got a total weight for how much everything weighed. I was happy that I came in at 5,440 pounds, which was 160 pounds below my GVWR of 5,600 pounds. Now, again, if you're a newbie like me, I'm going to just briefly explain what GVWR means. If you're a veteran truck driver and you know what all of this means, skip ahead. But GVWR stands for Gross Vehicle Weight Rating, and that's the maximum weight that your truck plus all the gear and passengers and that can weigh to be within kind of the safety margins for what your truck's allowed to have. And so again, for the Toyota Tacoma, it's not a lot. 5,600 pounds is the GVWR, and my first weight was 5,440 pounds. So I was happy that I had 160 pounds to spare to pack it with gear and food and water and maybe some spare gas. Most of my drive, I wasn't going to have a passenger in there, so I also had the weight of the passenger that I could use for packing. And so when I had passengers, I tried to keep things a little lighter. And then when I was going down those long, dusty, rough roads, Dempster and Dalton, I filled up a little bit more on extra water, extra gas, things like that. Now, the other part of looking at your vehicle's weight ratings is you have a GVWR, which is like the entire vehicle's weight rating. And then you have GAWR for your front and your rear axles. Those are gross axle weight ratings. And both of my weights for those were within good margins. My front axle weight that first time with a passenger up there with me was 2,760 pounds. And the rear axle was 2,680 pounds. And I was really happy that I had a good amount of axle weight rating in the back to go. So the Toyota Tacoma that I have is a 2023, and my GAWR in the front is 2,940. My GAWR in the back is 3,280 pounds. So I did have about 600 pounds of wiggle room in that back. So that's mostly where the weight goes when you're truck camping, is you just add it to the bed of your truck. And so I was happy to have a big kind of gap there so that all that 160 extra pounds, if it went in the back, we were still good to go. So that's all the weighing I did before I left for Alaska. And I did some reverse math and figured out kind of how much everything was weighing and decided that it seemed like my truck camper was around 350 pounds, at least under 400 pounds. So I thought I had met my goal. But I headed up to Alaska, and I was confident that I was under my GVWR with everything in it. Had a wonderful road trip, enjoyed all those fun roads up in the far north, and then came back home. After I got home, I wanted to weigh that truck camper a little bit more officially. So I took the truck camper off. I needed to do some cleaning and things like that. And so we took it off, and I went ahead to weigh my truck empty, without the truck camper, without the tailgate, like just how it would be, but truck camper off. I had myself in it and a full tank of gas only. Now, this time I had done a little bit more research about those CAT scales before I went there. I was curious how much it would cost to weigh it twice. And while I was looking online, I found that there is a CAT scale app. So no need to press that button and talk to an operator. You can download it on your phone. And so that's what I did. I downloaded it on my phone. I drove my truck over, sat on the scale, and it was $13.50 for your first weigh. And then you can come back within 24 hours and get a $4 reweigh. So $18.50 total. And that might change if you're not watching this in 2023, but that's what the current prices are. And I got my truck on that scale, and the total weight of the truck, again with a full tank of gas, me, no tailgate, was 4,720 pounds. The front axle weight was 2,680, and the rear axle weight was 2,040. So after I weighed it, I drove home, put the truck camper on, and drove right back. So it's about 3 miles from the gas station to my house, so 6 miles total. So the gas tank was a little bit lighter, but not much. And this time when I put the truck camper on, I didn't have the mattress in. I didn't have the little bench that I'd made. It was just the actual structure of the truck camper shell. So roof, pop-up walls were down, sidewalls, door, just the bare bones structure. And we drove back on. And this time I got a total weight of 5,060 pounds. And that was with 2,680 pounds on the front axle. So that hadn't changed at all when I put the truck camper on. And I had 2,380 pounds on the rear axle. So all that truck camper weight was on the rear axle. I did a little bit of math, and the total weight for the truck camper shell is 340 pounds. So it's official. We did it. This truck camper shell is under 400 pounds. It was a little bit of an engineering fun problem to try to make it lightweight. But if any of you are out there building your own truck camper shells and are able to get your truck campers even lighter, I would love to hear what tips and tricks you have for a really, really lightweight build. Again, I was really happy with the total 340 pounds. And since the total weight was 5,060 pounds with just me, the full tank of gas, and the truck camper shell, I feel comfortable that I do have several hundred pounds to play with as I put things in my truck and get ready to take it out to the wild again. All right, thanks for watching.